allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bunton.
Present.
Campbell.
Here.
Dempsey.
Here.
Hill.
Here.
Menser.
Here.
Baker.
Here.
Announcements, acknowledgements, communications, and reports. Tonight we have a presentation of a proclamation for Mr. John Vera. If John would come forth, please. And Commissioner Hill is going to read the proclamation because I have a sinus infection and I think I'll drip through the whole thing. And I didn't want to do that, so.
Okay, well, I'm honored to present this on behalf of the Mayor and the City Commission. Whereas the people of Mount Clemens, through their duly elected officials, have a long history of recognizing those individuals in their midst who give of themselves for the human and public good. And whereas John Farah was a longtime City of Mount Clemens employee with over 30 years of service to the city until his retirement in 1998, and whereas John served for a total of 27 years on the Retirement System Board of Trustees, with 15 years as the general employee representative and 12 years as the retiree representative until his resignation on July 27, 2015, and whereas due to John's expertise and dedication, the City of Mount Clemens pension system is highly successful and well-funded system today, and whereas John will be truly missed on the Retirement System Board of Trustees, and he will always be remembered as an advocate for the employees of the City of Mount Clemens. And now, therefore, I, Barb Dempsey, Mayor of the City of Mount Clemens, on behalf of the City Commission and all our citizens and employees, do hereby express our sincere thanks and appreciation to John Farah for his dedication and his 27 years of service to the City of Mount Clemens Retirement System Board of Trustees, dated November 2nd, 2015, and signed by Barb Dempsey, Mayor of Mount Clemens.
Kind of the icing on the cake. I always thought I was honored when I was chosen by my fellow employees to be a trustee, represent them on the pension board. And then after my retirement, Her Honor Mayor Dempsey chose me for several recurring 3-year terms. And I was honored to be chosen by the mayor because the charter says you serve at the pleasure of the mayor, and there's 180 of us, and Her Honor chose me. So this is the icing on the cake, this proclamation. I really appreciate it. All I can say is God bless Mayor Dempsey, God bless the city commissioners, and God bless the City of Mount Clemens. Thank you.
I just want to add that I have been on the retirement board 10 years, so I had the opportunity to serve with John for 10 years. And I have to tell you, and all the retirees out there, he absolutely represented you to the fullest. He was always aware of what was going on with that retirement board. He was always asking the right questions, and I think the retirement board is truly going to miss him because he was there to be the watchdog, to help, and to build that retirement board over $56 million. And so the retirees should be very proud of that representative, as we are at the city here. So, John, thank you so much, and we wish you the best of everything.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. If you want to leave, you may. You don't have to stay for the whole meeting. And I think we have some other announcements.
The Beautification Commission will meet on Tuesday, November 2nd at the Mount Clemens Public Library at 7 p.m. There will be a joint meeting of the Mount Clemens Planning Commission and the Clinton Township Planning Commission on Wednesday, November 4th at 6:30 p.m. at Clinton Township offices, 40700 Romeo Plank. And the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting scheduled for Wednesday, November 4th has been canceled.
Okay, are there any other announcements?
Yes, Your Honor. I had one thing this evening I wanted to make mention of. City's fortunate to have our new finance director, treasurer, Linda Kunith, join us this evening. She comes to us with a great deal of knowledge, skills, and experience from many different jobs over the years, including with the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, Grosse Pointe Woods, as well as the City of St. Clair Shores. And we're fortunate also to have her join us today as her first day, and to have her have the opportunity to work with our outgoing finance director, Marilyn DeLugie, before she retires here near Thanksgiving. So we'll have about 3 weeks of time for Linda to learn everything there is to know about the finances of the city of Mount Clemens and fully hit the ground running there. So I wanted to make mention that Linda has joined us this evening, and hopefully people had a chance to say hello to her. Absolutely. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, adoption of the agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Support.
Roll call.
Fontaine.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Okay, public participation. This is the time you may address this body. All we ask is that you give us your name, residential address, and that you adhere to the 3-minute rule. So the mic is open.
Laura Fournier, 70 Lodwick. I don't see it on the agenda tonight, but I thought there was going to be a vote on this economic development, tax cut, whatever it is. And I just want to again voice my opposition to that. If we believe we have a fair tax system in the city of Mount Clemens, there's no need to give a tax abatement to anyone. We just had the largest increase in our city income tax ever, 45 to 48%, and to continue to do things on the back of the residents just doesn't make any sense. We can't take any more of these. And I hope that means it's off to the agenda, off the table, but something tells me it'll sneak back up here later on. I also want to make one comment on the HR director. I don't know anything about the new person that you're considering, but I do want to say that Sarah has been so helpful to me and to my husband so many times. She has been thorough. She has always done an excellent job in anything that we ever had in any of our dealings with her. And I'm sorry that she hasn't been given the chance to take that position, especially since she's been doing it for the last year and a half. And finally, on the sidewalk issue, we've had some more falls on Lodwick. And I really hope, on the Halloween night, we had 2 children, just a few doors down from me. And you know, you go a little farther, and it was X'd, but that house wasn't X'd. And it is definitely 3 inches. So we've got to get some uniformity, got to get some coverage on this thing. It is just unfair the way this was done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine Vernier from 65 Lodowick. I just support what Laura Fournier just said. And my niece that's here with me tonight did fall, and she hurt herself quite badly. Her knee was all cut. She has enough problems with her diabetes and her history. So I wish that you would really start enforcing some kind of rules on the sidewalks before, you know, there's some real serious injury. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Cheryl Emerson, 48 Sheridan. I want to thank all of you for the work that you do, and welcome. Good luck. Anyhow, I was just wondering when there's going to be a sidewalk update, and how aggressive is the program going to be that you all introduced. And I want to know who's responsible for Church Street at Groesbeck. There's 20 or 30 feet that's just getting awful again. And can we like charge a toll fee for everybody going to Myers? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Guy Rizzo from RFT Group 70 Macomb Place, and we're asking that the the downtown maintenance assessment for the special district, the rear of the property as well as the side is being used as a secondary as far as calculation, and we're asking that just the primary footage on Macomb Place itself is being used for that assessment. There's no entrances that are used other than loading in the rear, and it just doesn't seem like it's the best approach. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Gloria Heller, 260 Cass, buckle up. First of all, I'm very annoyed that you people have allowed the finance director to retire. After I blew the lid off that 27, remember page 27 fiasco? Oh, those were just proposed salaries. You know why she called them proposed? You know when she called them proposed? When I forced the issue and got a hold of page 27. If I hadn't forced that issue and found out what was going on with those salaries and wages, they'd have been swept right through with the rest of the budget and screwed, blued, and tattooed the residents, the way this whole tax thing has gone. Speaking of taxes, as Ms. Fournier did, I foster tax reform, and it has two parts. Number one, get that millage back from 20 to 15. Get off our backs. You lied to us. You cheated us. You stole from us. And then you think it's wonderful that you can sit up here and hire all these people? Again, why wasn't she fired? The minute I brought up page 27 to you. Now, about Sarah. I hope we have at least 4 votes tonight saying no on item 9C. And I know he's going to go, oh, I've checked the charter. Fine. Leave it up to Mr. Murray to interpret. And if it is indeed correct that although he has to bring it to you to approve, it doesn't matter whether you approve or not. That's what he's saying. So a little surgery may be necessary on the charter, but I'm telling you, go ahead, get a majority vote of no. If Mike Murray says, well, you can't do it because of the charter, you know what? It's time for a little civil disobedience, and I, for one, will be the first one to visit this new HR person and ask her what other ways she can't be trusted in, because anybody who would come and take a job that's already been being done by someone for 18 months under the worst of conditions hasn't a shred of personal integrity. I can't wait for an HR director who is integrity challenged, and we're going to pay her what? You need Sarah and a clerk. Add up the bill for that compared to Sarah and a new HR director. What's the matter with you? You know what this is a result of? Your poor method in selecting and changing the city manager situation. If you'd have shut up and left it alone, left Doug here till August, and taken the amount of time that was needed to properly seek a city manager, we wouldn't have had Bruner, and you wouldn't now have this. So you're living with the puddle you made. Hope you like it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Sue Dunsmore. I live at 60 Ludwig, and I'm the one who fell just recently. And I've known a lot of other people who have fallen too. My niece, and she was cut up pretty bad. And so I'm here to support Laura and her in what she said, but also the sidewalks really, really have to be attended to. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
John Van Camp, 15 North Walnut. I have so many things that I dislike about what goes on in this city that I could spend not my 3 minutes up here, but probably 3 days. there's a lot of things here that are wrong in the city. And one of them is that, you know, the transparency thing, so that we could see what's going on in the city. We don't have that. And if we had that, we might be able to solve a lot of other problems. I hear people talking about their sidewalks and all the rest of the stuff. I live downtown, so I think about the sidewalks downtown. I had a good friend of mine, this is a couple of years ago. He slipped and he fell because of the sidewalk. He broke his hip. He ended up with nothing, ended up in the hospital, a lot of rehabilitation. And it's just not right, some of the things that the city does. That's just one of the things. The downtown Mount Clemens, downtown is the hub of Mount Clemens. It's the hub of the wheel. And if it's in disarray like it is, and if it's in disrepair, and if it's the way that we work at things, it's a hostile city. We ticket people all the time. What we're looking for, I don't know. I think what it is that the money that comes in from the parking is the only money that comes into this city from downtown. If you tax the people any more than what they're already taxed, they don't want to pay the tax that they have right now, and they shouldn't have to pay more taxes. We've got a lot of things in Mount Clemens that don't belong here. I'm not saying that I'm not against art, because I love art. But to have an art center that requires a parking area the size that we have downtown, that pays no taxes, is not right. The other thing is we have a lot of parking places downtown, parking lots, that do not bring in any revenue into the city. The city doesn't get anything from a parking lot. The only thing it gets is that parking meters. And now that money goes to pay off the bond for the parking area around the art center. So what we're stuck with is this. We got 50% of the city downtown occupied by the county. Pays no taxes. We've got 25% of the downtown area that's parking lots. The parking lots that are there, most of them are never full, that's for sure. We don't ever get a full parking lot. And the only reason why we're getting any parking right now is because the county is working on their parking structure, so these people have to come over here and park. If we don't have any money coming in to pay for this bond, then where's it going to come from? It's going to come from the general fund. It's going to come from the city.
Thank you.
And we don't need to pay for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm Dave Peltier. I don't live in this town no more.
What's your address?
Huh?
What's your address?
614 King at Rochester Hills. A few years back, John got an award with two 1818 pins. I guess Christian Clemens used to carry them around with it, pass them out, wear them on his hat. I'd like to get one because I lost mine. So I'd like to come up to your office, pick it up. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay, I said enough.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Name's Jeff Foster, 92 Gallup. Mount Clemens has always kind of had the reputation of being a party town. It recently landed on a list of one of the drunkest cities in Michigan. I see it downtown. I'd like to know when this town is going to make an attempt to move in a different direction. Kind of let that old reputation put it to rest. Do something different. We've got tons of liquor license in this town. I'd like to see, I understand they generate income for the city. And I don't see much good coming from a town that's known for being drunk. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Administrative responses to issues and questions raised during previous meetings.
A couple of items this evening for the mayor and commission and for the residents and other people watching this evening. Number one, Robertson at northbound Gratiot building. We previously mentioned this. This property is owned by a nearby church, and the city will continue to work with that property owner in an effort to see that structure demolished. However, it is controlled by a private owner, and it's a nearby church. Secondly, inquiry on South Avenue. There was a resident that came forward and talked about whether there were any plans for a project on South Avenue. The road does have many, many pothole issues, as well as more serious problems such as failing patches that were completed after underground work by our utilities department. These areas present a serious issue in terms of safety and drivability. We could look at doing a mill and cap, as was recently completed on both Crocker and Market. This type of project has the benefit of being more affordable with a cost estimate of about $300,000. However, the underlying base for the road is also in poor shape, just as the surface is, which makes it a poor candidate for a mill and cap project because it would basically require patching pretty quickly after that mill and cap was done. So that investment would not last and really isn't a good expenditure of funds for the city. The other alternative for a major project is full reconstruction of the road, which would include fixing the base as well as paving the road with concrete or asphalt. This would be a long-lasting repair, but the associated price tag is likely to approach about $1 million for this project. And absent an external funding source, of full reconstruction is not in realistic short-term plans of the city. So we are evaluating the idea of addressing the worst issues on South Avenue with hot patch, which would affect a pretty long-lasting repair that would greatly improve drivability at an affordable cost. This would likely have to happen in the next few weeks because of the timing of hot patch no longer being available about mid-November. So Jeff Wood is evaluating that and seeing if we can put together a quick project to take care of those couple of patches that do present some issues for drivability. And those are the two items that I was going to report on this evening. The rest basically was just people making statements about what they wanted to make statements about, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions, City Manager? Okay, seeing none. I need a motion to approve the previous minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of October 19th meeting.
Second.
Roll call. Are there any corrections or roll call, please?
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Bunton.
Yes.
Okay, general business, 9A. This is the second public hearing for the downtown maintenance program, and I need a motion.
Move to open the second public hearing for the downtown maintenance program.
Second.
Okay, this is a public hearing. You may address this body on that particular issue, which is the downtown maintenance, and you're going to read.
Yeah, we have a short item at the beginning of this, Your Honor. This date was the approved date for the second public hearing for the downtown maintenance program. And the purpose of this public hearing is to review and confirm the special assessment roll as prepared by the city assessor. It's being brought forward by Nancy Streller, city assessor.
Okay. So you may speak on this subject matter.
I have a question, since there's been some, Gloria Haller, 260 Cass, some contentiousness going on about this. It is my understanding that the way this downtown maintenance program occurred, yeah, first it was back when they were paying the bonds and stuff, but is it not now the fact that the reason they have this downtown maintenance program and the associated assessment is because the DDA members asked for it? That's what I remember from a meeting, because they could either pay piecemeal and each hire their own little snow shoveler and whatnot, and it would cost, or they could get it done through the city, through an assessment and so forth. Now, in that case, then, Mr. Van Camp and anybody else that has trouble with it needs to take it to the DDA, not to the city, because it is my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, please. It's my understanding that the DDA members are the ones who voted on this to have this maintenance program, and in that case, he needs to take it up with them. At least let him know how to solve his problem. He doesn't appear to know.
Okay. Anyone else?
John Van Camp, 50 North Walnut. Just to help Gloria out a little bit here, give her a little bit of history. I've been to the Michigan Tax Tribunal, and I've been there more than once. on this issue. Special assessments are special assessments, just like it says. Otherwise, it'd be a tax, a property tax. And they're for special purposes. And what they're meant to be is for those purposes, there's a limitation on the amount of years that you could collect this special assessment. And it doesn't continue on after it expires. The special assessment expired at the end of 20 years, and that's what the Michigan Tax Tribunal said, that that assessment expired. What it didn't address was the fact that the city of Mount Clemens continues to collect this assessment. And the way that they continue to collect it is by okaying the assessment roll, which we're talking about right now. And I can see why everybody who sits on this commission would vote to say, sure, let's collect that assessment. That money needs to be collected so that we can keep our city clean. The fact of the matter is that once it expires, it's expired. You can't continue it on. The way that the roll was written originally, that is to be approved here, was that it was the special assessment roll, not the special assessment. The special assessment stands alone. It is the special assessment. You can't continue collecting money when you don't have a special assessment. You have a roll. You have the people that are on the roll. Who's going to complain? After all, you have to be a resident to vote on the issue. The other thing is that as well as myself being downtown, we used to have another person that lived downtown that owned the building downtown. Now, who's going to complain about this? Are the property owners going to complain? They don't even know anything about it, and they don't want to get involved in it. It goes on and on. It's another thing that is, this assessment is another burden on the property owners because it pushes away our investment. It pushes away people from opening up businesses. I'd like to open a business down there, but all I can see is that what's the final outcome is that you're not going to make any money down there. There's a few niche businesses that have been in there for 20, 25 years, and they'll continue to make money. The people that won't make money are the people that come in and want to open a business. The way that it was structured is this, and I don't know, I want to say that it was Saff's brother, Steve Saff's brother, who's an attorney up in Marysville? No, not Marysville. Yeah. At any rate, he wrote a lease for the business people of downtown Mount Clemens. And this lease was a triple net lease. And what it does is this. A business comes in there and they pay a certain amount for their rent, just like everybody is expected to do, knowing that the owner is going to pay the taxes, the insurance, maintain his property. And instead, what happened is this. A triple net lease says that the business will pay that percentage of the taxes, the assessments, and the insurance, and whatever else they can throw in there. So therefore, if you're a property owner downtown, and you had a vibrant downtown, you would not have to pay any taxes on your property because you've got it all rented out, because the business people are paying the taxes. The assessment's paid by the business people, not the owner of the building, not the owner of the property. The insurance on that is the same. It's all part of the triple net lease. Therefore, what happens is why would anybody come here and protest? Unless you really lived down here and you lived in one of these buildings downtown, would you ever get involved in something like this? I never thought I would. And it takes years just to find out for the average person what's going on with these taxes and things. It's very complicated. And knowing what I know at this point, and I believe that I will be successful in getting rid of this assessment, because it is an assessment that's not needed. First of all, if you want to charge to clean downtown Mount Clemens, as far as I know, they've been cleaning streets forever. They clean them all over the city. You can clean downtown too. And downtown, the only thing that comes in downtown, the foot traffic that we're talking about, is from across the street. It's from the county. The county comes over and it utilizes the city that's down here, mostly restaurants. Most of our storefront businesses have moved out. They can't take it. Between the rent, the assessment, the taxes, everything else that goes on, why would we ever have a city that means anything? The other thing is that we've got a city that it's hostile. You have people coming in the morning. I live there. I see this stuff at night. I see it at 4 o'clock in the morning. I see it at 5 o'clock in the morning. I see it at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I see it at noon. I see it all day long. I know exactly what goes on in our city. I don't know how much everybody else knows. If you were downtown at those hours, you might find out what's going on. And what's going on is this. The county people come into town and they park. And they take up the spaces. Most of them attorneys. A lot of them are the people going to court. These are not people coming downtown for business. They're not even coming down to buy anything. The only thing you will find is now and then they'll come over for lunch. We get a lunchtime trade out of them. This causes for even further problems for a business or a restaurant. But that's not the end of it, because what are we going to do about it? Nothing. What's happened is this. This has been going on for so long, and it's been going on forever down here with the city council. And I can understand that the city council that sits here today says, well, we got to keep our city clean. We've got to keep this assessment going. We need this money coming in. My point is the money that's coming in is lost in the money that is not being spent in the city to make our buildings productive, make our businesses productive, and give us a vibrant city. And we can't have that. And one of the other reasons why we can't have that is because we've got parking for who? We got parking for people that come into the city but don't use the city. We need to change our assessment. Our assessment is not right. And it will happen that way because that's what the Michigan Tax Tribunal is about, is making things fair. I know you want me to sit down. I wish I only had 3 minutes. Now I got forever. I don't want to give you...
As long as you stick with the assessment, I'll let you talk, but you start going off on other things and...
Well, I'm not. I'm staying to your assessment and the reasons for and the reasons why it's there. And people need to know this. If they want a vibrant city, then they need a city that works with you and not against you. Because as a building owner, and as the man just said that was up here, Mr. Rizzo, he wants to lower his assessment because he doesn't feel as though that portion of it is right. I say the whole assessment is not right. And I'm going to be proven right, and I'm going to go to that Michigan Tax Tribunal, and I'm going to work on this situation until it is right, because it's wrong. I'm still talking about the assessment.
I
I'm not
understand,
talking
I'm
about
hearing you.
nothing else, and I won't talk about anything else but the assessment. That's what
hear
I'm
you.
talking about. I know you're sitting there and you're saying, man, why don't you sit down? You know, I can't sit down. I can't hold all this stuff inside of me because I live down there and I see it every day. And I see what this assessment does, and I see what the problems of the downtown area are. Every time I went around my neighborhood and I asked, I said, you ever seen the mayor down here? She come in and see your business? Oh.
Okay. I think now we're talking about something else
No,
besides
I'm
assessment.
not. I'm not. This is all part of
You
the
know.
same part and part of the same thing.
Do you have anything new to say about the assessment?
Well, let's say this. The new things that I have to say about the assessment are this, is that we need to change our assessment and get rid of our assessment.
Okay.
So that
Duly noted.
so that we can further ourselves and become whole. The city needs to become whole. The city needs to be a city that is not badgered by assessments and things of that nature. And as far as the assessment itself, to clean the city, all you have to do is walk around downtown and you'll find that no sweeper is going to be able to sweep up the broken concrete, the asphalt, and all the rest of the stuff that goes along with this assessment. All these things that are there are a problem for us, and they're not being resolved, and the city, I don't think, is informed, as it should be, about what takes place in the hub of Mount Clemens.
Okay. I
Mount
think
Clemens needs a
Thank you.
new assessment.
Duly noted that we need a new assessment, and you're going to the tribunal, so.
That's right, that's
Okay.
right, that's right.
Wish you luck.
I know you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All
Does
right.
anybody else have anything on the assessment?
Mayor, can I just go open the doors? It's really warm in here.
Yeah, someone,
Could somebody
Shelley,
open the doors?
could you open the doors back there? It's getting a little warm. Thank you.
Michelle Weiss, 18200 Terra Drive. I'd like to speak about the assessment from back when it started. I came here to Mount Clemens in 1978, and we had a Mount Clemens Business Association at the time. This is before the DDA. And we spoke about having an assessment and a way to keep our streets clean because us, as business owners, could not go out there every day and pick up and clean up. So we asked for it. It had nothing to do with Steve Saff, Val Saff, nothing like that. At that time, Steve Saff Sr. was my landlord. He owned the building that I was in. We all understood as business owners what that meant for us. Some of us had triple net leases, some of us had gross leases. It still meant we were going to be paying this assessment. And I do believe Commissioner Campbell took time last year and walked around and talked to the businesses about it. They don't have a problem with that. And any building owner that has their building filled and has revenue coming in, they're not paying it. He's right on that. We paid taxes, their insurance, and the assessment. It was all part of our lease. That's just the way it was. It's a lot like other communities. But I rented from 3 different people and different leases. Some were triple, some were just gross lease. But it was understood. And I think if Commissioner Campbell went out again, he would see that the businesses don't have a problem with it because who else is going to do it? The city doesn't have the time nor the resource to do it. So we as business owners step up and say, we'll pay our portion to help keep it clean. Mr. Van Camp could fill his space and then he wouldn't have to worry about paying the assessment. It would be paid for by the people that would rent from him. So the business community downtown is hopeful that you will once again continue to have the assessment to keep our downtown clean. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, I need a motion to close. Oh, I'm sorry. Please clarify.
Just push the foot pedal on the bottom of the door.
Okay, go ahead.
Just to clarify, this assessment in 1980, as Ms. Weiss mentioned, the City Commission, in response to the downtown property owners, adopted a special assessment for 20 years to provide for snow removal, sidewalk cleaning, street cleaning, and Christmas lights. Since that expired in 2000. Since 2001, the city's annually authorized a new special assessment for these purposes, and that's what's before you. There are 46 parcels of property listed in the special assessment. There's been a complaint from one property owner, and it's been a reoccurring complaint. As to the tax tribunal, the argument that's being advanced is that because this was a 20-year special assessment, that it expired and you can't renew it. Mr. Van Camp was before the tax tribunal in 2014. The administrative law judge ruled, and I'm quoting, petitioner, that's Mr. Van Camp, misconstrues this as a limitation on the number of consecutive years that the city may authorize a special assessment. The effect of this provision, and he's talking about the state law that talks about 20 years, the effect of this provision is that if the city authorizes a lump sum assessment, it may provide for that amount to be paid in annual installments, not to exceed 20 installments. This does not limit the number of years that the city may authorize a new special assessment under Public Act 1980-287. Therefore, petitioner, that's Mr. Van Camp, petitioner's legal argument fails. Petitioner has failed to state a claim upon which relief may be granted. So the whole idea that this 20 is somehow limited by the 20 years, the tax tribunal judge found that not to be accurate.
Thank you. Let's close the public hearing first, please, and then we can. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay, roll call, close the public hearing.
Dempsey?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Menzer?
Yes.
Raker?
Yes.
Bunton?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Raker?
In regards to the expiration of 20 years, even though probably to some extent the actual property owners in 20 years and since that 20-year expiration following 15 years have changed hands, I would argue that to some extent that probably has happened. Has there been a formal petition that has gone around to like actually formally reauthorize this in its original sense? It's awfully loud.
That's what's before you. This is statutorily how it's done.
No, originally the petition that went around where all the business owners had to sign.
Oh, they didn't all have to sign.
Well,
Yeah,
a certain percentage of them had to, correct?
No, Mr. Blash, who indicated when this came up last year, and he, of course, had been the assessor back then, indicated that there was a request by property owners, downtown business owners, and the city commission at that point adopted this special assessment. It wasn't like they signed a petition and brought a petition in.
But that did happen to originally put this in place.
What, a petition? No. There was a request by a number of them. The city commission put it on the agenda and decided to adopt the special assessment. It wasn't a petition initiated, as far as I know, and Mr. Blash never said anything about that. And I think you got 46 parcels of property. To my knowledge, there's only been one objection to it.
About 3 years back, we had, I think, 3 different businesses that came up and spoke about it. I mean, it's not a popular argument to go up against this. Mr. Van Camp does carry the lion's share of resentment for it, so.
Okay, are there any other? Okay, I need a motion then that we close the public hearing and confirm the special assessment. We already closed the public hearing, so I need a motion to confirm the special assessment.
Move to confirm the special assessment roll number 16-01.
Second.
Are there any more comments? Roll call, please.
Hill?
Yes.
Menzer?
Yes.
Raker?
Begrudgingly, yes.
Bunton.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes. 9B, approval of the 41B District Court 2016 budget. Need a motion?
Motion to approve the 41B District Court 2016 budget.
Support.
So we have the judges of the 41B District Court requesting approval of their 2016 budget. Said budget has been provided to the City Commission under separate cover before this evening.
Good evening,
Judge
everyone.
Sebastian.
Good evening.
I'm Judge Sebastian Lucido, Chief Judge of the 41B District Court. We're here for approval of our 2016 budget. It's very similar to the 2015 budget. I'm glad to say that the court is very fiscally sound. We're anticipating a better year this year than we did last year. We've always stayed within our budget and returned money to the communities. Our post-retiree benefits are 100% financed. We're making all our bond payments towards our building. Clinton Township recently went out and refinanced our bond payments, so our payments actually went down, so we should be even doing better with a bigger return to the communities. And we submitted the budgets in advance. The Court Management Council, which is made up of Mayor Dempsey, Bill Sowerby from Clinton Township, and Ken Verkest from Harrison Township, reviewed it, voted to approve it unanimously. We were just in front of Clinton Township Board earlier tonight. They voted unanimously to approve it, and we'd ask this board to do the same. We submitted it in advance, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Any questions? Commissioner Menser?
I just wanted to say congratulations on the almost $500,000 in grant funding. That's awesome.
Yeah, we actually got close to $1 million grant over 3 years. So it's a little over $300,000. That's for the specialty drug court, which is doing a great job. My colleague Judge Davis runs that, and she's really helping a lot of people with serious addiction problems.
Anyone
We
else?
continue to look for state and federal grants all the time we have a veterans court too.
Well, nothing else. Roll call, please.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Bunton.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
9C, confirmation of city manager's appointment to the Human Resource Director. Need a motion?
Move to confirm the city manager's appointment of Jan Marie Eubanks to the position of Human Resource Director effective November 3rd, 2015.
Second.
All right, so the city's Human Resources Director position has been vacant since the retirement of Barbara Hergenroder in 2014. Mayor and Commission specifically discussed filling this vacancy during the fiscal year 2015-16 budget process, and also funding for the Human Resources Director position was also allocated in the fiscal year budget for 2015 and 16 as approved by the Mayor and Commission as well. The city charter outlines a plan for the day-to-day administration of the city that assigns responsibility for operations to the city administrator. Further, the charter states the administrator is to be selected on the basis of qualifications. With special reference to his training and experience, there can be no doubt the charter set out to achieve efficient administration, which is a term from the charter, of city government by providing for the appointment of a professional city administrator and by assigning functions and duties to the city administrator accordingly. One of the primary duties clearly assigned to the city administrator by the charter is the power to appoint, with the consent of the commission, the heads of city departments. It appears the charter further spells out the intent of the word consent by later prohibiting the commission or individual commissioners from interfering with this appointment duty of the city administrator. This prohibition specifically states the commission shall not dictate appointments nor interfere to prevent the city administrator from exercising her judgment in making appointments. Consistent with the above, this city administrator undertook the task of filling the Human Resources Director position. The process was thorough and professional. The position was well advertised and candidates were successfully solicited. The administrator established a committee of 3 members of city administration that developed relevant interview questions, screened and selected candidates for interview, conducted interviews, and unanimously agreed on the candidate presented both on October 19th, 2015 and tonight. The committee was made up of the city administrator, the city attorney, and the city clerk. Interestingly, this means that 2 of the 3 members of the committee are the only two direct appointees of the city commission to city administration. In other words, the city administrator and the city attorney are the only people that get appointed directly by the city commission, and both of those individuals participated in the committee process that selected this candidate before you tonight. This process was handled by administration with a thorough and professional process. The Commission's involvement in this process includes this confirmation request, as well as a review of the resume of the chosen city appointee, or the city administrator's chosen appointee for this position. So pursuant to the Mount Clemens City Charter, the city administrator's appointment of Jane Marie Eubanks to the position of Human Resources Director is being presented for Commission confirmation, in this instance for a second time because of a 2-2 vote at the October 19th, 2015 Commission meeting. Ms. Eubanks is administration's preferred candidate for this important role as a result of her unique background, knowledge, and skills, and the thorough and professional hiring process that was followed by city administration. Ms. Eubanks' start date is proposed to be Tuesday, November 3rd, due to the delay in confirmation resulting from the October 19th deadlock at 2-2. The Human Resources Director organizes and directs the activities of the Human Resources Department and has responsibility for all of the related functions in the department. Ms. Eubanks' annual salary is proposed to be $65,000. She'll be receiving a benefits package, as is the case with all city department heads. So I'm looking for confirmation of the appointment of Jane Marie Eubanks that I brought forward for a second time for consideration by the Mayor and Commission. And that's all I have.
Commissioner Raker.
This is interesting that you explained that maybe I should start off with, maybe this is an area for the next city commission eventually to tackle the need to kind of work on the charter, because it's saying one thing and then basically telling us that, hey, you're a rubber stamp. And I mean, I don't necessarily take the stance that we are a rubber stamp. You're going to get my support on this, as I told you, but that's because I didn't share with you my personal philosophy in regards to filling these positions by former public officials that have successfully completed a career denies the opportunity for a career and income of an up-and-coming civic employee. And someone that works in public administration, I have a tendency to defend those positions. So had you known that in advance, I wouldn't be able to support this appointment. But I do disagree with your interpretation of the charter, and I will encourage this commission to consider a revision at some point in time.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll chirp in as well. This is really difficult for me because I do know Sarah, and I've watched her, and she's performed at the job excellently for the past 18 months, and did it without a person to help her. She did it all by herself. And to me, that almost qualifies her to have that position. But I also have to agree that the charter gives the responsibility of hiring members of the staff to the city manager. And whether I like his choice or not, I pretty much have to go along with the charter, as well as we all have to go along with the state constitution, the federal constitution. Those are documents that we cannot change because of our heartfelt agreements or disagreements with. So I'm going to vote yes for this, explaining that I feel that the charter does need to be redressed, not only on this issue, but there was something else that we talked about in the charter that named, or forgot to use the feminine inclusion on some of the items that are in there. It just mentioned men because it was written at a time where women, I guess, did not have access to these positions, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I think that the charter needs to be readdressed, but before that occurs, we have to go by what the charter says, and I think the charter gives that responsibility to the city manager. That's my comment.
Anyone else? Commissioner Hill?
I am going to support this also, and this is nothing against Ms. Price, who performed very admirably and well. I'm going to vote for it because there was a committee of people, 3 people, who, with due diligence, interviewed people, read their resumes, and made a decision. And since I was not there to hear everything, I have to respect their opinion. And as I understand, it was a unanimous opinion, so I'm going to respect the process and vote yes.
I would just also like to add one more thing. I hope that Sarah gets the training through the, this is just, it's a hope.
We don't want to get into the
Don't want to get into
employees,
that, okay.
current employees. and
All right,
everything.
I'm through.
Anyone else? Whoa, that's loud. Okay, roll call.
Yes.
Yes?
No.
Dempsey,
No.
Hill,
Yes.
Menser,
No.
motion tied.
Okay, 9D, adoption of resolution establishing a moratorium regarding the establishment of business engaged in dispensing, and distribution of the medical marijuana, or Mary Jane, whatever you want to call it. Need a motion.
I move to adopt the attached resolution establishing a moratorium regarding establishment of businesses engaged in the dispensation. That is a hard one.
It's a hard word.
Or distribution of.
Dispensation.
Yeah, dispensation
There
or
we go.
distribution of medical marijuana.
Support.
So, do we get the motion?
Yeah, go ahead.
I always jump the gun
Yeah,
on it.
go ahead.
Administration has received inquiries regarding the establishment of businesses for the dispensation and distribution of medical marijuana. There still is a tremendous uncertainty among municipalities across the state as to how best to regulate this dispensing and distribution of medical marijuana, and there is comprehensive legislation pending which would create 5 categories of regulated medical marijuana businesses, establish licensing and licensing fees for the same, create an excise and sales tax for medical marijuana, and allow municipalities to prohibit such businesses if they so choose. Therefore, administration is recommending a moratorium on the establishment of any business or premises for the dispensation or distribution of medical marijuana for a period of 180 days. This moratorium is a proactive measure to protect the public health, safety, and welfare and ensure that proper approval processes are established for licensing and review of such dispensaries, if allowed, including ordinance adoption and zoning amendments. Submitted by our City Attorney, Michael Murray.
Questions, comments? Commissioner Mansur?
Through the mayor to Mr. Murray, what will it take for us to actually write an ordinance and adopt an ordinance that set some guidelines, like, we wouldn't have a dispensary within 1,000 feet of an establishment that serves alcohol, or we wouldn't have it within 1,000 feet of a park or playground or recreation area where children gather, or 1,000 feet from a church, something like that?
We've already done that.
And-
We did that 3 or 4 years ago. But
Where is it?
What occurred is that the Court of Appeals, for a number of years, every municipality was up in the air. And there was no direction on what you could allow, what you couldn't allow, what prohibitions you could put in place. So you had people doing all kinds of, municipalities adopting all kinds of different regulations. A big one was an ordinance that said, we will not allow anything that's prohibited by federal law, because marijuana is still prohibited under federal law. And so we had moratoriums in place for almost 2 years. Then and everybody was waiting for the legislature to come out with some guidance in terms of bills. Then the Court of Appeals ruled that dispensaries were not allowed under the Medical Marijuana Act. So that took the whole issue away. Nobody was adopting ordinances at that point in time, because what people want to do, this moratorium doesn't prohibit caregivers from having 5 patients, from giving them their marijuana. What it does is it stops dispensaries And dispensaries are the only thing that anyone is interested in establishing. Okay, that's what ultimately is what people who come and inquire, they are inquiring because they want to establish a dispensary. And most of those projects are to take a factory and get 50 caregivers together. And 50 times 5 patients, you know, suddenly you have 1,000 plants growing in that building. So because the Court of Appeals had said you couldn't do it, well, then all the inquiries stopped. Well, last year, the Supreme Court reversed the Court of Appeals and said, your interpretation is wrong, dispensaries may be allowed. And that is what has now fostered these 3 bills that apparently are going to pass. And so they're really, the reason for the present moratorium is these bills hopefully will be passed by the Senate within the next 6 months or so, at which point you can then determine whether you want dispensaries, because those bills are going to allow municipalities to say, we don't want any marijuana dispensaries in our community. So that's going to be the first question. Then the next question is, if you say you do want them, then we will get to the ordinance that, and basically the ordinance is restricting, the restrictions are based upon amending the zoning ordinance.
The zoning.
Which it would only allow dispensaries in a certain location. Most communities, it's in industrial locations. And that's why we're requesting that this moratorium be adopted, because hopefully we'll have something to work with from the state legislature. And then the commission will have to make a decision if they want to have dispensaries, and if so, then it'll be, how do you want to regulate them?
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Bunton.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
9E, approve purchases and payments of invoices. Need a motion?
Move to approve purchases and payment of invoices as presented.
Support.
Question?
Yes.
I'm looking at the purchase of computer equipment here. Was the Hewlett-Packard through Logicalis done through the county? Or was that direct through Logicalis?
Direct through Logicalis.
So we did not check to see if the county would be able to purchase these cheaper, because when we bought computers just a short while ago, we bought 5 of them and the county saved us $30 per computer.
We checked through the county, the same company that the county uses. They have the state contract. It's the same one that the county uses, that you have your contract with.
Right,
Yeah.
the county does have a contract through
Right,
Logicalis,
and
but
so-
because they purchase in such large bulk, that's why prices are generally cheaper.
Right, and we sent them the bid and asked for a price, and then they responded back with the amount.
Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Bunton.
Yes.
Consent agenda.
Is there a consent agenda?
No, there isn't any, that's right. I'm sorry. Well, you can vote anyway. City manager's report.
So I passed out a correction to the first item on this city manager's report for the MML loss review, and just before we get to the numbers, I'll explain what the error was. The report from the consultant from the Michigan Municipal League listed 2 different numbers of fund mod, and it listed those numbers in a certain order. And then it listed claims in a certain order, but with the year attached to it. So I interpreted that without the benefit of a clarification from the individual who drafted the report at the time. They were listed in the same order, so I equated them in the same order. In other words, I assigned the first one to the first year of claims and so on and so forth, and point of fact, the numbers were listed in reverse order for some reason. I tried to clarify it before the city manager's report was put in the packet. I didn't get a call back until today. So the first set of numbers in the fund mod for 2008 through 2014, if you flip the order, you would have it correct. But the overall point will hold, as you see from what I'll read through shortly. The MML provides insurance service to the city through their liability and property pool workers' compensation fund. Now, the city only participates in the workers' compensation aspect of that. As you know, our liability insurance is provided elsewhere. As part of that service we receive from MML, the city sits down with a loss control consultant to review our experience for the prior year. This experience in question relates to the number of and the time lost to workplace injuries. The feedback from the consultant was that our results were, quote unquote, very good and by far the best the city has had in the past 12 years. The experience is measured by a numeric score known as our fund mod, as well as the number of claims filed by our employees. For each data point, the lower is better, and then I provided each of the years for claims and for the fund mod. The 2015 figure of 0.73, when you compare it to the fund mod, the highest score that we had over the period of time that's listed in the schedule was 1.27, and the lowest was 0.98. So our score for this year of 0.73 is substantially lower than any year that we've had experience with over the past several years, and much, much lower than many scores that we've had over that period of time. Likewise, the number of claims varied from year to year. 17, 10, 19, 21, 10, 13, and 7 was the lowest number of claims that we had prior to this year. The number of claims that we've had this year is 3. So I wanted to say congratulations are in order for both management and our employees for achieving very substantial improvement in this critical area of costs and safety for employees, quite frankly. The city plans to expand our safety training efforts in order to build on our momentum in this area. There's a service that's provided to us through the MML that we can utilize to provide training. FVOP, F&V Operations, our new management company handling our utilities department, is very big on providing regular training to employees. They've already provided several trainings to employees in the utilities department. So we're looking to have a better record of providing important safety training to our employees to help build on the success that we had this year with the good experience we had both in the fund mod and the claims. So that's all that I had on that. I wanted to say, again, congratulations to the people involved, and that's the frontline management as well as the employees for taking safety seriously. Seasonal leaf pickup was the second item that I wanted to mention. The Department of Public Services has begun seasonal leaf pickup this week, weather has permitted. During the fall season, the street department schedules a cleanup crew to come down every street at least twice during the season to pick up leaves that have, quote unquote, fallen from the trees. So in other words, we're asking residents to assist in keeping our roads and streets clean during this fall season by not blowing or raking leaves into the roads. The intent of this process is to take care of those that have fallen into the roads, not to take care of the ones that you rake into the street or blow into the street. So we're asking for consideration and cooperation with that in keeping our roads clean and safe. The third item I had, a little bit of an exciting announcement here. We've added a customer amenity to our repertoire here at the city. The city recently received a suggestion from a resident through the mayor. She has a mayor suggestion box, if you will, that we should install a drop box to facilitate transacting city business without leaving a vehicle. This person's take on it was that some people are handicapped and otherwise limited and would be helpful if they would not have to leave their vehicles in order to come in and transact business in City Hall. There are those of us who are just prefer paying from our vehicle as opposed to making a trip into City Hall as well, regardless of whether there's any physical issues present or not. This suggestion was recently, or has been received in the past, but never fully acted upon in the past. We did some research into the idea this time around, including the places available here in our parking lot at City Hall, and we determined to proceed, procured a drop box, installed the item, and are currently ready and able to accept city business through the city drop box. The drop box is located in the center island at the rear of our parking lot, which is near the gazebo and the Clinton River. The best way to approach and use that drop box is to enter the parking lot from the drive nearest to the fire station and proceed to the back of the lot and then bank to the left. The drop box is in the second island and on the left. This drop box can be accessed 24 hours per day for any city business that does not require immediate interaction with any employee. This could include bill payments such as taxes, water bills, tickets, etc., forms for processing, absentee voter ballots through the clerk's office, and other uses. Cash should not be deposited to the drop box. Let me repeat that again. We are not accepting cash through that drop box. It's intended for written instruments like checks, money orders, things of that nature. We will continue to do an outreach effort to publicize this new amenity. This can and does include some of these items and will include other items. The website notice and information is currently on the website. We will have it included in the next and subsequent editions of our Clementine's newsletter. We'll have it placed on the marquee. We potentially will be looking at having something on a water bill to explain that it's available to people as well as on-site signage. We have some lawn signs in front of the parking lot to direct people to the right driveway, if you will, as well as signage near the drop box itself, a street sign near the drop box itself to make it more visible. We're excited to offer this to our customers and look forward to seeing how popular of an option it becomes. So take a look if you haven't checked out the drop box. Mayor and Commission, check it out. Take a look if you're a city resident or a business owner that would like to transact business with the city through that and make it easy on yourself and not leave your vehicle. That's all I had this evening.
Okay, Commissioner comments. Commissioner Campbell?
The street department does an excellent job when they do bring the sweepers down. Unfortunately, the same people that left their cars on the street last year were there again this year, and there's already a foot of leaves out there, and winter hit early last year, creating an ice dam. People couldn't even get out of their own driveways, so it's like, I still think we need to implement some kind of a system to let people know that the sweeper is going to be coming down so they can remove the vehicle, so the street department can do the excellent job that they're capable of doing. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hill.
Tomorrow, we will have a city election to vote for city commissioners and mayor. I hope our citizens will exercise their privilege and responsibility to vote. We know for certain one member of the current commission will not be here for our next meeting. Commissioner Raker has chosen not to seek another term. I want to say thank you for serving and all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
As Mr. Brown mentioned in his city manager report, and Commissioner Campbell just mentioned about removing leaves that have dropped into the streets. Knowing and expecting this, it would be nice if people would avoid parking their cars in the street during this time to facilitate the leaf cleanup. Leaves that are not picked up can block the storm drains and interfere with proper street drainage. If you do park in the street, please park in front of your own house on your own side of the street. Your neighbors will appreciate that. I have had several complaints from citizens about the use of plastic bags for trash pickup. Frequently, the bags are broken into by squirrels, skunks, raccoons, pets, whatever. This often leaves a mess for the homeowner to pick up. Several solutions to this problem have been tried. Some people spray the bags with something like Clorox or something that they think will drive the animals away. I personally double bag my trash when I put it out, but actually, neither one of these solutions is totally perfect. So I am asking whether it is permissible to put the filled plastic bags in a metal or plastic container, and will the people who pick up the trash then pull them out of those containers? No, they won't?
The answer is no.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a prohibition on cans basically in this town, and that's based on the experience that those containers end up in the roads, create safety issues, create neighborhood issues, and that's the reason for the prohibition on that, from my understanding of it. So,
I believe it costs $5 more per household.
and there's the cost as well. Yes.
Oh, okay, well, I don't know, I think some people might be willing to pay $5 more, but I can't speak for everybody. Or I don't know if there's any other solution to this problem. And I know the contractor bags, which we often use, are very strong, but they're also very expensive. So, anyway, moving along, I think having a city drop box in the parking lot is a great idea. I drove past it coming in tonight to see what it was like, and it looks like it would be very, very usable. So I'll be interested to hear a report on how much it is utilized. Don't forget to vote tomorrow. Have a good evening and a great week.
Thank you. Commissioner Raker?
Yes, as Commissioner Hill usually does. She gives me a very good segue into my commentary. It is my last meeting, and I am happy to say that it is my last meeting. Not because I didn't enjoy listening to the concerns, complaints, considerations of my fellow Mount Clemens residents. That's what we're here to do, is to serve. And granted, it has been a sometimes frustrating 4 years here. I will miss that interaction. Those of you that have my phone number and know where I live, I anticipate that the phone calls and the visits won't stop, so that's okay. Two of the reasons why I'm not seeking is the last 3 years I've been working for Detroit City Council. 2 years ago I worked for Detroit City Councilman Ken Cockrell. In the last 2 years I've been working for Detroit City Councilman Gabe Leland. I've been at the table through some very interesting times, and it's been really a privilege to be there witnessing some of the historical events that have happened. I work hard in regards to supporting my boss in the Planning and Economic Development Committee, and we get to deal with a lot of exciting stuff, from bridges to arenas, and that's taken up a lot of my time. I'm also in the Naval Reserves, and I was fortunate enough to be selected for this fiscal year to be promoted to commander, so that's going to take a lot more of my time as well. So the timing just wasn't right to seek re-election or to run for mayor again. So I decided not to at this time. But I encourage all of you that come to the microphone and speak. You have the ability to serve in this capacity as a commissioner or mayor. Please, I encourage you to give it some consideration. It is work, but it's what our country is founded on. And if you're the least bit civic-minded, I encourage you to consider it, please. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Menser.
All Mount Clemens City residents can take advantage of the county's new legal self-help center on the 5th floor of the Circuit Court building. You'll have access to legal websites, computers and printers from 9:30 to 12:30 and 1 to 4, Monday through Friday, except Wednesdays. Interns from Baker College will be, their paralegal program will be happy to help you. They won't offer legal advice, but they will help you through the databases. And all those services are free, so you can go use their computers and printers for free. Volunteer drivers for Meals on Wheels for routes in the city of Mount Clemens for Thanksgiving and Christmas are available and are desperately needed. So if you want to help serve your other senior or homebound residents on a holiday, please consider Meals on Wheels. You can contact them at 469-5228 or contact me and I'll get you in touch with Community Services. Seminole Academy needs volunteers to help children falling behind in their studies. Mostly reading assistants. You can volunteer any time of the day. You can contact the school, Seminole Academy, or you can contact the PTC president, Nikki Knight, at 586-260-3534. Veterans Day is next week, Wednesday, the 11th. And the date of November 11th was chosen in reference to the ending of World War I. Germany signed an armistice with the Allies, signaling the end of the war at 11 a.m. on November 11th, 1918. I'm not quite sure why we don't have a veterans ceremony in our community this year, but I wanted to look and see how many veterans we have in Mount Clemens. And I wasn't able to narrow that down, but I'd kind of like to give just a little taste of the veterans in Macomb County. Overall, the Veteran Services served this far through the end of September, 5,274 veterans. They served 661 World War II veterans, 557 Korea-era veterans, 2,396 Vietnam-era veterans, 827 Persian Gulf veterans, and 368 veterans of Iraq, and actually 465 peacetime veterans. So, as everybody said, we're voting tomorrow. These veterans fought so that you would have the right to vote. So please take advantage of it, and please next week, thank a veteran for their service. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Brunton.
Last week, I introduced you to a new business in Mount Clemens, Michigan, motorcycle salvage, and I forgot to give you the address of it, so it is 290 northbound Gratiot. Someone stopped me and asked me, you know, you did all that, but you didn't tell us where it is. So they specialize in motorcycle repair, used parts, anything you need to have looked at to, except they don't sell new, they sell used motorcycles. So any of you who are interested in motorcycles, that's a good place to go by, visit, see what they have that you might like to get involved with. Actually, again, I say, if it doesn't have 3 wheels, I'm not riding it. I guess this next thing on my list was addressed by both Commissioner Hill and City Manager Steve Brown. Please do not push, sweep, blow, or rake your leaves into the streets. They become part of the infrastructure. Our sewer systems will not be able to handle the blockage. So what happens after that is that you get flooding in people's homes and their basements. You get floodings in the streets, which is a hazard as you're driving down the street. Be a good citizen. Bag your leaves and set them up for proper disposal. This city is one of the oldest cities in Michigan, which means that the sewer systems and all of the other infrastructure is equally as old. So you cannot, the fact that we have so many more people now than we had back then is enough of a challenge to our system. But if you continue to rake leaves and things and wash them down into that system, it just puts more burden on it, and you just can't do that. So please keep that in mind. Mr. Van Camp mentioned a vibrant city. I'd just like to bring to his and everybody's attention that the redevelopment-ready community involvement that we're into at this time, seeking certification by the redevelopment-ready communities, will give us an opportunity to develop the downtown area. That's what they're doing. So as soon as we get that certification, the state and the federal government will step in and help us redevelop our downtown areas. And we're also addressing that with our master plan. Our master plan is now in process of being re-evaluated. So with the master plan as well, we will be looking at making our city a vibrant city. So we're in the process. It has not come to fruition at this point, but we're in the process. So we'd like to let you know that so that you can feel a little bit better. And also addresses the gentleman that brought up the fact that we're known as Drunk City or something like that. Anyway, that's something we're working hard to erase, okay? So we are working with that. That redevelopment ready community and certification will help us to find a new niche that does not include party time. Spooktacular and Trunk or Treat was a huge success this past weekend. I mean, I was approaching the place and I'm seeing this line that wrapped all the way down to the old county building, and I'm saying, either I'm real late or these people are real early. And by the time I got there, I just found out that I was not late, but they were just early. They lined up and kept coming, and they all seemed to have such a delightful time. I was involved with judging the trunks, and it was a great deal of fun. We found just a lot of different, in fact, some of them actually scared me too. But you know, there was some of the attractions there that were just outlandish as far as how much they put into it. So I commend all that was involved with that activity. It went well. A farewell to Joe Raker. We've not always agreed on everything, but you know, I enjoyed your spirit and your conviction. And I wish you the very best in everything that you future endeavor, try to do, everything that you want to do, let it be successful.
Thank you.
And Veterans Day is coming, so again, as our commissioner here said, please find a veteran, salute a veteran, tell them that you appreciate their service. And I guess that's all I have for that. So, Commissioner Wisdom for the night. Many of our fears are tissue paper thin, and a single courageous step will carry us clear through them. And that's by Brendan Francis. So with that, we'll say good night.
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody, we do have 3 veterans services in the city. I have participated in those in the past. We start at Clinton Grove, and then we do have a service right over here in front of the fire department. The laying of the wreaths and everything. Yes, it's, and the AMVETS as well has one. So I just want to remind everybody, if you get an opportunity to attend those, and again, think of that. And I wish Joe Raker, I'll get it right straight yet, a lot of success for you. It's been challenging, and you have given me a lot of gray hairs, but you know what? It was challenging, and I do appreciate your service to the city. So with that, I would like to have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Menzer.
Yes.
Raker.
Yes.
Clinton.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.